free and dive into the sky.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? My name is Zane and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, turn on that notification bell and all that good stuff, and let's get right into this video. So if you guys have been with me for a while, you guys know that I made a top 5 jungle tips video. That video did really well. You know, people were watching for a while, so I assume you guys really like that. So today I'm going to be giving you guys 5 more jungle tips. So between them, it's going to be the top 10 jungle tips that I could possibly ever think of. I spent a while thinking about these, just thinking about the best tips that I can give you guys for ranking up. So if you guys haven't checked out the top 5 tips video that I made a couple weeks ago, you know, just go check that out before this. And yeah, let's get right into the rest of the top 10, I guess, best tips that the #1 ranked jungler in NA can give you. So tip number 1 will be counter picking and jungle matchups. So you guys are going to have to know the matchups of the game or the match that you're playing. Realize whether it's good or bad to fight them or not. You know, if I'm on Zephyrs and I'm playing Zephyrs, they have an enemy Rourke. Obviously, I cannot fight them too much. I just need to lay low, farm, wait for an opportunity to jump in. You know, if I see Rourke use his ult, spend it in a team fight and it's gone, then I know when I can go in. But you should always know the matchups. Another example would be Zane and Nacroth. You know, I've been playing Nacroth I've been spamming Nacroth like a ton of games recently, and I can tell that Zane does very, very well versus the Nacroth. So I can tell that, okay, I just need to split push this game. I can't really fight them. You know, there's a lot of things that you just shouldn't be fighting if they counter pick your jungler, because you're not going to be effective in fights. You're just going to get kind of farmed and it's not going to be good. So you should just lay low, grind your jungle, grind the lanes if you have to, and just wait for an opportunity to jump in after, you know, your team goes in and all that stuff. Like while your team is distracting, you jump in and swoop in and pick up all the kills. So yeah, just know when the jungler counters other junglers and in diamond up and stuff like that. You know, if you know the Quillen's up, you could always pick Rourke if you don't want to play Quillen. Rourke is just an amazing counter to Quillen, especially in ranked and stuff like that. You can invade him, you can just ult whenever you see him and he really can't do anything. It's just a really good pick into a Quillen. So that's it for tip number 1. Just main idea would be realizing the enemy jungler and the enemy comp, what they can do versus you. Realize if they're good or bad. You know, if they're all squishy and you're Quillen, you want to be getting those fights. But if they're all super tanky and stuff like that and you're on a Quillen, you just kind of just want to lay low, slowly farm up, try not to fight, because if you do take the fight, there's a very good chance that you're just going to die and it's going to be all for nothing, and then the enemy team is just going to get snowballed out of control. So yeah, that's it for tip number 1. Tip number 2 here is going to be counter pressure, and this is when the enemy jungler is pushing one lane, you should always be pushing the other side. Same goes for objectives. If the enemy team is taking Darkslayer, you should be taking the Enraged Abyssal Dragon, stuff like that. To do this, you just need to know, okay, where is the enemy jungler? You know, are they pushing my top tower? If they're pushing my top tower, I'm just going to push their bot tower, stuff like that. So you just want to be trading objectives. You never just want to let them get something over you. You know, this is only when you cannot defend it, or if you're on the other side. Like for me, I know, okay, let's say my support dies at 2 minutes. 2 minutes, of course, is when the dragon spawns. So I'm not going to fight that fight if my support already died. We're probably going to lose it because it's going to be a 3v4 if both the Darkslayers are not there. So me not wanting to fight that 3v4, I'm either going to invade the enemy's buff, I'm going to take Sentinel, or I'm just going to start my jungle again and try to reduce the loss on that dragon. I'm not going to try and fight that because it's very risky to go and do that 4v5 or 3v4. If they're low though, I might decide to go in. I might just decide to stick around and zone them off until I can see that they're leaving, and then I just run back into my jungle so I can always stay on top of them in the gold. So yeah, you just want to be never letting them get that objective over you again. So if they're pushing one side, you need to push the other. If you can see that they're invading one side of your jungle, you need to go and invade the other side. Just simple stuff like that can really make a huge difference. And let's get into tip number 3, which is a pretty big one. It might be the biggest one on this list, and it's how to realize your mistakes. You should always be trying to learn from the mistakes you see yourself doing in every ranked match. You know, if you don't come out of every game kind of knowing and seeing something that you did wrong, it's really not good. What I used to do when I first started playing this game, I made a Google Docs sheet, guys, with heroes that I wanted to learn. I still do this today. You know, like even as early as like a few weeks ago, I made a Google Doc sheet and then I listed some heroes out, and I listed some like bullet points under each hero on what I can do better. It doesn't have to be a lot, it just has to be like 3 or something. That's what I did. Just 3 things that you can improve on with that hero. It could be macro, it could be micro, just anything you see yourself doing consistently. You want to be having a goal to eliminate those. You want to be having those targets already in your mind. So yeah, when they're written down like that, it will help you much better to actually avoid making those issues over and over, and you will just have a lot more success with improving your gameplay and making less and less mistakes. If you know what your mistakes are and you keep on working towards them to try and eliminate those mistakes, you will see some amazing results. Okay, that's it for tip number 3. Tip number 4 is going to be when to be aggressive when you're first learning a hero. This is also a pretty big one. When you're first learning a hero, or even if you're just trying to get better on a hero, you want to be being super aggressive. You always want to be fighting on that hero, is what I'm trying to say. You know, don't be passive, because if you're passive, you're never going to learn that hero. You're never going to learn what's the maximum potential that you can get away with this hero and still make it out alive. I have about 1,000 games on Zephyrs, and I can tell you, I used to literally just jump into any fight that I could, like 1v5 style, after I was super fed in every game, and it helped me with my micro a lot, to the point where it was my best hero at one point. It's really not anymore, because Zephyrs is just really bad in this meta, but what helped me become so good on that Zephyrs, people started banning it, guys. That's how strong it was. But what made me become so strong on that Zephyrs was just being so aggressive in every game. It made me learn what I can get away with on this hero and what I should be doing. What are the counters to me? What on micro that I can do, and it really makes you a more effective jungler in the fights. Really, like, you learn all the counters, you learn any hero you're good against if you are just playing aggressive on the hero that you're trying to get good at. This also, so yeah, that's how it also kind of ties in with tip number 1. You learn what counters your hero. Like if I was being super aggressive on Zephyrs and, you know, we reverse a Rourke, obviously I'm not going to be doing too good. So in the next future games, I'll be like, okay, I can't do this anymore versus the Rourke or versus Xanis or versus whatever. So yeah, that tip just makes it a lot easier to learn your heroes. And tip number 5, always have a general idea on what you're going to do next after any play you make. I touched up on this a little bit before in my other top 5 video, but let me go a bit more in depth. Stuff like if you go dragon, you want to think about, okay, do I want to clear mid first? Do I want to go back straight to my jungle? If you finish your jungle, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be going mid? Are you going to be going to the side lane? Which ones do you want to be leeching golds from? If you take a tower, are you going to be invading the buff on that side of the tower, or are you going back to defend your own? Because again, I've talked about the counter pressure, you know. Say the enemy jungler is pushing top lane and you guys are pushing bot lane, and you know that you started blue buff, so when that jungler takes your top tower, he could invade your blue side, and say you're taking bot tower, and of course the enemy jungler must have started blue if he ended up on top. I hope this is making sense. But yeah, let's say both the buffs are spawning, yours and your enemy junglers, next to the turrets that you're about to take. Do you go back to defend, or do you go and invade that jungle? Just looking on the map, seeing, okay, is their support going to be defending their buff? If that's the case, then no, I'm just going to go back into my jungle. Stuff like that. You just always want to have a general idea on, okay, what can I do next in this match? That's why my Lindis is also one of my best heroes. I feel like on my Lindis, I always know what I will be doing next. My heroes aren't all yet quite up to that level, but on my Lindis, it really shows that I just am able to almost like look into the future and see what I will be doing, and that really helps your gameplay. So yeah, I hope these tips helped you guys out. you know, these are amazing tips that, you know, even I use myself every day, daily basis, stuff like that. So I really hope that you guys are able to improve your gameplays off of these tips. And yeah, guys, I guess I'll let the rest of the video run while I since I finished all my tips. As you can see, it's a Nacross game. It's pretty good, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will talk to you all tomorrow in the next video. Peace out, guys.
Look behind your back. Chase a light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers. Standing in this air, going louder, we are all one color. Standing in the way. Join the army of the shadow. Join the army of the shadow. Join the army of the shadows, shadows, shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers. Standing in their shade. Going louder, we are all one color. Standing in their way. Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying